meeting to order. It is 1:01 p.m. on Friday, good grief, I don't know, March 22nd, 2024. We're here for a non-mandatory pre-bid for ITB 24-03-EN titled Estero Island Beach Nourishment and Hurricane Recovery Project. This solicitation was issued on March 15th, 2024, with all proposals being due electronically through demandstar.com by April 15th, 2024 at 2 p.m. To date, there has been one addenda issued, which, thank you. We basically uploaded every document that was there prior. We uploaded them again. There's some confusion between solicitation programs and talking to DemandStar, and things were being named weird, and so we reloaded them again. So that's what the addendum was, really. So I'll ask you, if you do have questions, if you'll please come to the podium and ask them. State your name and who you're with for the record, because our microphones will not pick you up out there asking the question, and we want to make sure we've recorded everything correctly. So at this time, I will turn it over to Chad Schutz. He is the project manager for this this program, or this job. I should back up a little bit and introduce myself. I'm Amy Baker. I'm the town clerk with the town. Jason Freeman is the deputy town clerk with the town, is on my immediate left. Michael Poff with Coastal Engineering Consultants is on my immediate right. And then Chad Schutz at the end. He's the project manager with the town. So I will turn it over to Chad at this time.
Thank you for everyone who's come and watching online. Like Miss Amy said, we have a beach renourishment project, dredging approximately 1 million cubic yards. And I will let our engineer, Mr. Poff, describe the project and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Amy. So again, Michael Poff, Coastal Engineering Consultants, the design engineer for the project. Good. And this is a second round at this. We tried in December to try to squeak out a project. We had strict environmental windows, and we didn't make it. So that bid was canceled, and so we are back out on the street. It is essentially the same project with some variations. We have changed the order of work. So as Chad mentioned, we're going to be dredging sand from Gulf of Mexico, transporting and placing it on Estero Island. There's the north central segment, which begins at the very north end, which would be the south boundary of Bowditch Point Park, extending south to Lanark Avenue. It's DEP monuments R175 to R198. Then we pick up again on the south segment from R203 to R207. That's in a critical wildlife area. So we're ordering the work to do the north central section first. We are allowed to relocate turtle nests, so that is a town responsibility. And there are no historic shorebird nesting areas within that north central segment. So we're allowed to work during the summertime. The goal is to have an award at town council in May, and then have you start thereafter. We assume sometime in June, with the goal to be done 1st of November. After September 1st, we're allowed to move to the south area and work in the south area because bird season will be over. That's the whole reason that we had tried to jam that other project in early in the calendar year, was to try to beat bird season, and we weren't going to make it. So now we're just going to wait and do it after bird season. So in a perfect world, you would finish north central on basically middle of August, give you a couple weeks to take the pipe and flip it and move it down, and begin work after all the birds have hatched, fledged, and taken off. The other thing that we changed was Lee County identified a 7 million cubic yard sand body offshore. We were working closely with the federal government and the state government agencies who authorized the work, including the Bureau of Ocean Engineering Management, so that this bar area could be used by the town sometime in the future. Well, the future is now, and so they'll be getting an agreement, the non-competitive negotiation agreement with BOEM, to be able to use that same sand body. So pretty much every dredge in the fleet has the opportunity to work on this project. We have a nearshore bar area in the Matanzas Pass Delta Complex. It's the same bar that was used for the initial restoration in 2012. It's got like 1.2, 1.3 million yards available. The bid volume is 950,000 yards rounded. The offshore shoal has 7 million yards. So we have the opportunity for you to use your cutterhead dredge in the nearshore bar area, do direct pumps. You can use the cutterhead dredge in the nearshore bar area and pump to the north central section and then truck the sand down the beach to the south. Now, we don't have easements from the people between the central and the south, so you either have to go below the water line or you come out on Estero Boulevard and you can truck the sand down that way. You could build the north central section with direct pump from the cutterhead near shore, and then you could go to the offshore bar area and use hopper dredges or cutterhead and scows and sail into shore and pump out to build the south section. Or you can do the entire project using the offshore shoal with your hopper or your cutterhead scows and sail everything in. We have a offshore pump out area for the deeper draft hoppers. We have a nearshore pump out area for shallow hoppers and the cutterhead unloaders and spider barges and all the equipment. So we try to provide as many options for this project to be constructed as possible. They are all in the permit. They've all been covered by the environmental assessment, the biological opinions. All those permits and attachments are in the bid documents, except for two things. So somehow we still messed up on the DEP permit. The DEP permit that's currently on Demand Star with that file name is the Corps of Engineers permit repeated. So we're going to issue addendum 2 that will have the DEP permit corrected. We'll have an unsigned, non-negotiated, non-compete agreement with BOEM that we will get out. It may not come in addendum 2 because we may just go ahead and give you the DEP permit now, but we'll have an unsigned copy of the BOEM lease to give you. And then the other thing that the town is doing that you'll see a small change is they have some DEP recovery funds that can be used now. So we're going to go ahead and truck about 35,000, 37,000 yards to the beach before the dredgers begin and build the dune template on the north end of the island from R182 north. That will be in place before you arrive. So you will not have to build the dune portion of the template on the north segment. And most of the dunes built down the rest of the island. There's a few new work areas. Those are folks who refuse to sign their easements that you're going to have to skip over, and we also had to skip building the berm in many of those locations. So, but those are shown in the plans. So we will come out with 1 or 2 more addenda with those items that I've just discussed to clean things up a little bit. There should be 31 files related to the bid documents that all begin with the bid advertisement number and end with the date 2024-0319 for March 19th. But like I said, one of the documents is a repeat. It's the core permit twice. We'll get that one fixed. Then there's addendum number 1, which tried to explain the whole re-upload. Again, we apologize to everybody. And then there's the other file is the actual notice of the project. So I believe there's 35 files total now, or I'm not positive how many are uploaded, but 31 that have to do with the plans, the specs, the permits. We gave you the data files. They're TXT files, which are all of the surveys we did for the beach, at the arm monuments, for the bar areas, for the corridors. All those survey XYZ files are already ready for you. Every bid we've been asked to give them, so we just went ahead and prepared them ahead of time. We also have given you all of the cultural resource, geophysical, and geotechnical surveys and investigations done for both bar areas and for the corridors and pump out areas. So all those files are there. And there's 11 permit files, the DEP, and it's a couple mods with the DEP permit, the core permit. We have a biological opinion for the National Marine Fisheries Service, a biological opinion for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. There's the GERBOs. There is the state programmatic biological opinion that's also governing beach work in Florida, and the P3BO that has the piping plover biological opinion. So all those things are there. And if you've done work in Florida, you're familiar with 90% of those documents because they're governing all of beach construction inside of Florida. So from a constructible standpoint, technical standpoint, what your responsibilities are to, of course, provide us with the detailed work plans. You also have to have some biological monitors that have to be pre-approved for shorebirds, because we are working in the summertime. Even though there's not historic nesting, we'll still have to abide by the permits with regard to shorebirds. There are turbidity monitoring requirements. Again, if you've worked in Florida, they're independent, so you'll have to give us your qualifications for the turbidity monitor to get those people approved. Your work plan sequence of work, we're not going to tell you which way to take the pipe when you come on shore, but the north central section gets done first and the south section gets done second. But in terms of which way, if you go to the north, flip the pipe and go to the south from one of the corridors, that's up to all of you. So we want you to work with the town in terms of your sequencing of work, because there are public access points. The town will work with you in terms of managing traffic and what have you. We're working during the summertime, which is the lowest usage time, but there'll still be a lot of people around you wanting to use the beach. So we'll coordinate with you. We'll do probably weekly broadcasts to the town and to the residents so everybody knows where you're working. Obviously, if you're doing hopper dredging, you will have to do the trawling. You have to begin so many days ahead of time, and then we're going to just have you trawl every day through the project, because it's the Gulf Regional Biological Opinion. If we trawl every day, then we've been successful in allowing work to continue, versus around the Gulf, if you don't, then sometimes you have to shut down until they decide if you're allowed to start again and how long it takes to start, because a lot of projects share that Gulf Regional Biological Opinion. There's a bid schedule that has those bid items on there. If you are using a cutterhead dredge and you are using the nearshore bar area, it's up to you if you want to put any numbers in for trawling and sea turtle relocations. I'm guessing you're going to put zeros, but they're on there in case you do the hopper dredging, so that we do have numbers available for you, of course, to get paid, because they are individual pay items. Trying to think what else I can share with you. Thank you. So the other thing to make of note is, because Lee County was gracious to allow the town to use this bar area, they've aligned their project for Lover's Key and Bonita to begin on November 1st, is their goal. And they're using the offshore bar area that's out on federal waters. So if you're a contractor who has the equipment to use that offshore bar area and you are savvy with your bidding, you can pretty much spend the June through next summer in Southwest Florida, because you could literally go from this project right to Lover's Key, Bonita. The town and the county, BOEM, the Corps, all worked together to allow that to happen. So keep that in mind. I believe Lover's Key, Bonita will be advertised, if not today, it'll be advertised on early next week. Did it come out? Yesterday. So it's been advertised. And so their window is November through May. I'm also the engineer for that one, so I have permission to share that. Lee County and the town are committed on working together with the industry to provide all these opportunities to get the best pricing, keep everybody busy, and provide what is very needed to this area, which is recovery of the beaches, so that we can provide that storm damage reduction benefit, restore the ecological form and function of the beach and dune, and of course, provide the tourist opportunities for recreation and help to boost the economy. So lastly, Coastal Engineering Consultants will be doing the surveys for the pre-construction and post-construction on our 100-foot stations. You certainly are welcome to do your own surveying. Those of you who have worked with us before, we have our own professional surveyor. We do all this work. And so that's an item that's in our contract with the town.
Done?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. At this time, we'll open it up for any questions. And like I said, if you'd please come up to the podium and state your name and who you're with and your question so we can capture it on the recording, please.
Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. I'm Hannah Madison with Weeks Marine. I just have a few questions. Is there a reason for the specific pump out areas? And if we did our own multi-beam survey or some form of survey and found that our equipment could pump out closer to the beach, is that allowed?
So just to clarify, why those areas for the pump outs, and then can you have your own pump outs if you do the necessary surveys?
Within the pipeline corridors.
Within the pipeline corridors.
Mm-hmm.
Understood. So we obviously can't survey the entire Gulf of Mexico, so we looked at navigation charts, we looked at information based on other surveys as to where there might be complete clearance of any cultural resource, any shipwreck, any known artificial reefs, those kind of things. And we plotted one in deep water, we plotted one in shallow water. So are there more opportunity? There certainly is. They would require a minor modification to the permits to add. So you'd have to have a detailed cultural resource survey completed by a marine archaeologist and an outfit that's qualified to do that, provide that information to us, but we can't promise that we can submit it and get it modified in time for you to do your work. We certainly can try to do that. If you remain completely in the pipeline corridor with all of your equipment, you could pump out from the pipeline corridor.
Okay.
That's allowed.
Okay.
Yes.
Understood.
So if you go outside of it, then we have a problem.
Right. For anchoring, and nothing's allowed to be anchored outside of it.
That is correct. You cannot anchor
Okay.
outside. The corridor has a clearance width, and that includes any anchoring.
Okay. Understood. Also for boosters, are we allowed to place boosters anywhere within those pipeline corridors?
Yes. Again, as long as our anchoring stays within
All
the
within.
corridor, yes.
Okay. For geotech, I know we have borings now. We're not expecting any type of screening on the beach to be used. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the nearshore bar area has been used before. Is highly compatible with the native beach. But if you go below the limits, you will encounter unsuitable material. But the goal is not for you to do that. It's a very shallow cut in the nearshore bar area. Offshore, it's a big, huge, thick sand source. We did 20-some borings. There is some shell, but there is nothing that exceeded that 5% criteria offshore that we came across. And there was no evidence of rock or anything in the sand body itself. So we're not expecting any screening.
Okay. And then the last one I had was hypothetically, I know maybe not for the bid, it won't be as important, but if we are using that offshore bar area, I see we're not allowed to use that past October 31st for this project. If you did have the same winner for these both projects, would you be able to work something out to be able to use that equipment past October 31st?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
I'll caveat that there will be environmental windows on the other project. As long as you can meet the other environmental windows, the answer would be yes.
Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah, good morning. Chris Gillespie, Marinex Construction.
You can move the mic up to your,
Yeah,
there you
sorry. You mentioned stockpile and material and trucking. Is there a limitation on where the stockpile could be placed?
Has to be within the permitted fill limits. Cannot be one of the no work areas.
Okay, and access to the boulevard, or you have to go down below the high water line. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we have, like Newton Park is a town property, so you could access to get from the beach to Estero through Newton Park, because that is one of your dedicated construction accesses. Or if you stay below the mean high water line, we're on private property, we're off of private property on state-owned lands. You could traverse along there.
Okay.
Or you could go negotiate with every one of the property owners and get an easement. I know that the town tried that and we're not successful, but that you could walk in with easements from area allowing you for temporary access along their upland property.
Okay.
The thing is that we have turtles and birds and things, so that could affect how
Right.
you're able to access that area. If you're below the mean high water line, there's no turtle nesting or shorebird nesting below the mean high water line.
How many easements are in that area that needs to be skipped?
I'll have to get back to you with that.
Okay. Okay. You also mentioned a quantity of material available from the near shore borrow area, and I think you said,
It's between 1.2 and 1.3 million cubic yards are
Okay.
available.
okay, so fairly tight for a billion-yard job. Okay.
Yes,
Okay, good, thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Matt Palladino, Great Lakes Dredge and Dock. Just a couple questions. I guess with the re-release of the project and the changes, was there any considerations for budget? Any changes made as far as the budget for the project?
There have been some analysis of the budget. There's been some change in quantities. We've added a bar area, so it has been reanalyzed, yes.
Okay.
If you want to submit that one in writing, we'll answer it appropriately in writing.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And then as far as the nearshore bar area, is there a disturbance limit on that or?
There is, that's 1 foot. Let me double check the specs, but I'm
Okay.
pretty sure we have it now. We had issued in an addendum, then I incorporated it into the specs, but give me a second to find that.
Okay.
Give me a second to find it so I don't quote wrong.
I think we talked about it at the last meeting as well. So.
Correct. And we were waiting on the permit mod, and the permit mod came through, which should be in the packet posted. Bar area.
I need to get reading glasses if you can read that small.
I was gonna say, that's awfully tiny.
It's like microfiche.
Well, I know where it is. I just need to, where did it go? There it is. So, yeah, under paragraph 5, specific to the near shore bar area, the tip of the cutter may extend up to 1 foot below the permitted dredge depths defined as the limit of disturbance.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then for the new offshore borrow area, I think they listed out VC20 and VC21 series borings. The geotech package that I saw only had the VC20. There's a VC21, and maybe as part of this new addendum that we didn't catch.
There should be a file, let me double check, I'll open it right now, for a detailed geotechnical investigation from 2022. That has the 21 series in there. So it's another file.
Okay.
And so the file name is, the bid number, LK-BB GFA AMDRIL Detailed Geotechnical Investigation 2022.
Okay.
It's a companion to the Recon one that you're looking at, so you might have missed that in the download. The file size is about 13 megabytes.
Okay.
So if you can't find it, then send that to us in a question, and we will we'll resend it out or repost it or whatever we have to do to make sure you have it.
Okay.
So,
All right. Thank you very much.
you're welcome. I'll add the recon investigations looked at multiple bar areas, so as you go through there, you'll see that we searched some state water bodies, and then we landed on the one in the federal waters. So there are some borings in the recon that are not pertinent to this project because they're not in either of the bar areas.
Sorry, one more question. Hannah Madison with Weeks Marine. Are we allowed to be running a northern and southern beach concurrently if you did have two different types of equipment?
As long as Southern is outside the shorebird season. So after
Right.
September 1st, you can run concurrent.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Do you want them to submit these in writing, or is it official because it's being broadcast and everything, or how should they handle? Obviously, these are verbal answers, so
We'd prefer that you submit your questions in writing, and it would go to the bids at fmbgov.com. We can try and capture it this way too, but
Okay.
we know exactly what you asked if you put it in writing to us. And we're hoping the bid question or this question period will be open till next Friday afternoon, I believe.
Correct.
March 29th by 1 PM, and we'll get that addendum out with all those answers. So, anything else?
Thank
Would
you
you
for
all want to
coming.
do the DEP permit right away and then come back with an addendum with all the questions and answers? Or can we wait for the questions and answers to give you the DEP permit? Any preference? Okay, okay.
Okay. So we'll wait
You're
and
off the
issue.
hook for today.
the
For
D-
getting the addendum out.
Good. DEP permit will come out with the addendum then.
Yeah,
Questions,
Perfect.
yeah, answers.
correct. Yep, get your
Okay.
questions into us next Friday.
By
We'll
next
start-
Friday.
We'll start getting our addendum together with the DEP permit. We'll have the unsigned NNA from Boehm, and we'll have a little clarification on the dune work on the north segment. Those are the three things we know for sure that we'll have. And then whatever Q&A we have with you all, we'll answer those questions formally. So if you can't find the geotech file, then let us know right away, because we will get that, because that you would like to have, I'm sure, sooner than later. So.
And we can look on.
We downloaded them this morning and it was there. So, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of files there, so it'll be pretty easy.
Yeah, somebody asked if I could put them all in one PDF, and I said I could, but you would never be able to download it. So, yes. Now at least I have some naming convention that, I try to name them so you could figure out where it belongs, so.
Okay. If that's it, we will adjourn this meeting at 1:28 PM. Thank you all for coming.